that clearly there is a criminal investigation underway and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than live up to that.
Jennifer Lopez may have thought her past with Sean Diddy Combs was long behind her, but recent legal troubles surrounding the iconic rapper have dragged her back into the spotlight. As Diddy now faces some serious allegations, including assault and mistreatment claims spanning decades, people are starting to ask tough questions about Lopez's involvement, or at least her proximity to the controversies. Could she have been aware of any of the alleged incidents? And if so, why has she remained silent for so long?
Does he have a shot? I think his attorneys raised some good arguments.
I think they raised good arguments as well. Maybe this will be third time's the charm, because the difference between this bail motion and the prior two is that this one really does get to the heart of what the court was concerned about, which was witness intimidation.
To give you some context, Diddy's legal battles have snowballed in recent months, with multiple women stepping forward to accuse the music mogul of various forms of misconduct. One of the most shocking claims comes from an unnamed woman who alleges that Diddy assaulted her after a 2000 VMAS afterparty, a party where Jennifer Lopez was also present. According to reports, this woman claims that after attending the star-studded event, she found herself in a terrifying situation involving Diddy, which has now raised eyebrows about whether Lopez witnessed anything that night. Now, let's be clear, Lopez has not been directly implicated in any of these accusations, but the timing of these resurfaced claims, combined with her past relationship with Diddy, has led to speculation about what she might have known. Some fans have even pointed to Lopez's recent public appearances, where her behavior has been notably different. For example, during a recent autograph signing, she abruptly left the venue when a fan asked about Diddy's legal troubles. Was this a coincidence, or could it be a sign that Lopez is trying to distance herself from her former flame as these allegations come to light?
Yeah, that's trying a criminal case in the modern times. A lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on its own.
If we rewind back to the early 2000s, when Jennifer Lopez and Diddy were the it couple of the moment, their relationship was anything but ordinary. Lopez was already a rising star, but Diddy, then known as Puff Daddy, was one of the most powerful figures in the music industry. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with, but behind the glamorous red carpet appearances and high-profile parties, there were cracks in their relationship that were hard to ignore. Lopez has previously spoken about how their relationship was tumultuous, to say the least. She mentioned the constant drama and how their lives were moving in two very different directions. While Lopez was focused on building a stable family life, Diddy was engrossed in a lifestyle that involved endless parties and a fast-paced, often chaotic existence. In fact, Lopez has been pretty candid about why she ultimately decided to walk away from the relationship. She's talked about how she wanted something more grounded, something that Diddy, despite his charm and influence, simply couldn't offer. She has even been quoted as saying that she couldn't see herself having kids with him because of the instability that surrounded their relationship. But what Lopez hasn't talked much about is whether she ever saw or heard anything that gave her pause about Diddy's behavior toward others.
Those situations lend to maybe some issues with tampering. And I do feel like there are victims who are scared to come forward, including my client. She was very nervous about if he was going to get bail this week. And once I told her, and then come after people, including her and some of the other individuals. And she was very relieved when he did not receive.
Some sources have suggested that Lopez may have turned a blind eye to Diddy's more questionable actions during their time together. After all, Diddy was at the height of his career, and for someone like Lopez, who was still carving out her own path in Hollywood, being attached to someone as powerful as Diddy had its perks. But at what cost? There are rumors swirling that Lopez may have been aware of some of Diddy's darker behaviors, but chose to stay silent, perhaps to protect her own rising star. These rumors are, of course, unverified, but they've been gaining traction, especially with the recent avalanche of accusations against Diddy. One incident that has resurfaced involves a heated argument between Lopez and Diddy at the very same 2000 VMAS afterparty where the alleged assault took place. Eyewitnesses at the time described the couple as being visibly tense, with one source even claiming that Lopez was in tears by the end of the night. Could this have been related to something she saw or heard that night? Or was it just another example of the rocky dynamic between the two?
It's pretty interesting because I think, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident. He stood tall. But
it's also worth noting that this isn't the first time Diddy's legal troubles have made headlines. His past is littered with controversies, from incidents involving altercations at clubs to disputes with other industry figures. But what makes this current wave of accusations so different is the sheer number of people coming forward, each with stories that paint a disturbing picture of a man who used his immense power and influence to allegedly manipulate and mistreat those around him. And with each new claim, the question of who knew what and when becomes more pressing. Lopez, for her part, has remained largely silent on these recent developments. She hasn't issued any statements regarding Diddy's legal troubles, nor has she commented on the resurfaced rumors about their time together. But her silence is beginning to speak volumes. Some fans are starting to wonder if Lopez is trying to quietly distance herself from the man she once called her partner. After all, her career is still going strong, and she has built an empire that spans music, film, and fashion. The last thing she needs is to be dragged into scandal that could tarnish her reputation.
Most importantly and most notably, when he walked inside the courtroom, the first thing that he looked at was his family. As soon as he saw his family, he just lit up. Another thing to note, too, is he wasn't shackled, but he was wearing a khaki prison-like jumpsuit when he appeared inside court, and his family appeared on their end.
But here's the thing. Lopez's silence might not be enough to keep her out of the fray. With the media digging deeper into Diddy's past, it's only a matter of time before more details about their relationship come to light. And if it turns out that Lopez did know more than she's let on, she could find herself facing some tough questions about why she didn't speak up sooner. Of course, it's entirely possible that Lopez had no idea about any of the alleged incidents involving Diddy. After all, being in a relationship with someone doesn't necessarily mean you're aware of everything they do. But the optics of the situation aren't great. And in today's climate, where public figures are being held to higher standards of accountability, Lopez might find herself having to answer for her past, even if she had no direct involvement in Diddy's actions.
We all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
As the legal battles against Diddy continue to unfold, one thing is clear. This is just the beginning. More and more people are coming forward with stories, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for those around him to remain on the sidelines. Whether or not Lopez will eventually be drawn into the drama remains to be seen, but for now, she's walking a fine line between staying out of the spotlight and being seen as complicit in her silence. It's also worth considering how this might affect Lopez's fan base. She has built her career on an image of strength, independence, and resilience. But if it turns out that she was aware of any wrongdoing and chose to stay silent, some of that image could be tarnished. Fans want to believe that their idols stand for something. And if Lopez is seen as someone who turned a blind eye to abuse or mistreatment, it could have lasting repercussions on her career.
That he controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
On the other hand, some of Lopez's defenders argue that she shouldn't be held responsible for Diddy's actions, especially if she wasn't directly involved. They point out that Lopez has always been a private person when it comes to her relationships, and that it's unfair to expect her to comment on something she may have had no knowledge of. But in the court of public opinion, silence can often be interpreted as complicity, and Lopez may eventually find herself in a position where she has to address the rumors head-on. What makes the situation even more complicated is the fact that Lopez and Diddy have both moved on with their lives. Lopez is now married to Ben Affleck, and Diddy has continued to make headlines for his business ventures and personal life. But the past has a funny way of catching up with people, and with these new allegations coming to light, it's clear that the story is far from over.
So I think they're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks, because they know that their client is guilty and they're just trying to do the best that they can with a guilty client.
As more details emerge about Diddy's alleged misconduct, the focus will likely shift to those around him, friends, collaborators, and yes, even former partners like Lopez. And while Lopez may want to leave her past with Diddy behind, the reality is that she may have to confront it sooner rather than later. In the end, the question remains, what did Jennifer Lopez know? And when did she know it? It's a question that's likely to be asked over and over again in the coming months as Diddy's legal battles continue to play out. Whether Lopez chooses to break her silence or continue to distance herself from the situation, one thing is certain, the world will be watching closely.
And I remember, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but
I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside.
And as the public waits for answers, speculation will only continue to grow. Could this be the beginning of a larger reckoning for Diddy and those in his orbit? And if so, how will someone like Jennifer Lopez, who has worked so hard to cultivate her image over the years, navigate the fallout? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This story is far from over. With all these allegations swirling around, it's hard not to wonder what other secrets might be lurking in the shadows. Could there be more people out there who have stories to tell about Diddy and his inner circle? And if so, will we ever get the full truth? As the legal battles continue, one thing is certain: the spotlight on Diddy and those around him isn't going away anytime soon.
The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
Now, let's look at the bigger picture surrounding these explosive allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. And trust us, it's not just Jennifer Lopez who might be caught in the fallout. What's unfolding right now is a much larger story, one that's pulling in other high-profile figures in the entertainment industry, and it's shaking up the music world in a way that could change everything. So here's the deal. Diddy is being accused of some serious misconduct, and it's not just one or two people coming forward. No, this is a flood of accusations from multiple individuals, painting a disturbing picture of a man who allegedly used his power, influence, and massive wealth to manipulate and control those around him. And as these allegations have surfaced, it's clear that this isn't just about Diddy alone. There are whispers of complicity, with rumors swirling that some of his closest associates, people who worked with him, partied with him, and benefited from his success, may have helped cover up his actions or, at the very least, turned a blind eye.
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
Now, let's talk about one of the more jaw-dropping claims to come out of this situation, the freak-offs. Yes, you heard that right. According to court documents and testimonies, Diddy allegedly hosted what can only be described as elaborate, high-energy parties where things got seriously out of hand. These events were reportedly not your typical Hollywood soirees with red carpets and champagne flutes. Instead, they were more like underground gatherings where Diddy is said to have pushed boundaries and involved people in situations they didn't fully agree to, all under the guise of having a good time. These rumors have been bubbling up for years, but now they're at the center of multiple lawsuits, and the details are chilling. Let's not forget that Diddy has been in the game for decades. He knows everyone, and more importantly, everyone knows him. From his days building Bad Boy Records to his current status as a music and business mogul, Diddy's career has always been about making moves and building connections with the industry's biggest names. But here's where things get tricky. Some of the very people who've been close to him for all these years are now being scrutinized, with questions being raised about how much they knew and whether they stayed silent to protect their own careers.
That's of course. There's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers upon layers.
Let's start with the allegations that Diddy's inner circle might have helped facilitate some of these troubling events. There are reports that some of his closest associates, including members of his management team and security detail, were aware of what was going on at these infamous parties and chose not to intervene. In fact, some reports suggest that they may have even helped organize or secure these events, ensuring that Diddy's guests, many of whom were allegedly pressured into attending, were kept away from prying eyes. There's talk that certain key figures in his entourage were paid handsomely to make sure everything ran smoothly, no matter how out of control things got. And it's not just the behind-the-scenes folks who are being dragged into this mess. Several notable names in the music industry have been linked to Diddy over the years, and some of them are now facing questions about their involvement. Take Damon Dash, for example. Dash, who co-founded Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z, has been known to roll with Diddy for years. They've been photographed at parties together, shared business ventures, and were part of the same elite circle in the 90s and early 2000s. Now, while there's no direct evidence linking Dash to any wrongdoing, people are starting to wonder, how much did he know about what was really going on at these parties? Was he just a bystander, or was there more to it?
Now you got the Diddy situation where he jumps on a private jet, they say yesterday, and is on his way to the Cape Verde Islands.
Then there's Benny Medina, another industry heavyweight who has a long history with Diddy. Medina, who is best known for managing stars like Jennifer Lopez and Will Smith, has been a fixture in the same social circles as Diddy for years. In fact, it was Medina who helped Lopez transition from being a successful actress into a full-blown pop star, a move that undoubtedly brought her into even closer proximity to Diddy's world. Again, there's no concrete evidence implicating Medina in any of Diddy's alleged behavior, but the fact that he was so close to both Lopez and Diddy during the height of their relationship has led to speculation about whether he may have known more than he's letting on. Could Medina have turned a blind eye to protect his clients? Or was he simply too focused on his own career to notice what was happening around him? Now, speaking of Lopez, we've got to talk about the wider implications for her career, too. As more and more people come forward with allegations against Diddy, there's growing pressure on those who were once close to him to speak out. Fans and critics alike are calling for Lopez to address the rumors head-on. After all, she was with Diddy during some of the most controversial moments of his career, including that infamous nightclub incident back in 1999 when the two were arrested following a gunfight at a Manhattan club. While Lopez was eventually cleared of any wrongdoing, the incident thrust her into the media spotlight and raised questions about her relationship with Diddy.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
Now, with these new allegations surfacing, there's renewed interest in that period of Lopez's life, specifically what she might have witnessed or experienced during her time with Diddy. Some are even pointing to old interviews where Lopez discussed the intensity of their relationship, describing Diddy as someone who lived life on the edge and wasn't afraid to push boundaries. Could this have been a subtle hint that Lopez knew more than she was letting on? Or was she simply reflecting on the tumultuous nature of their personal relationship without any knowledge of the darker side of Diddy's behavior? And it's not just Lopez who's facing scrutiny. Other high-profile names who've been linked to Diddy over the years are also feeling the heat. Take Usher, for instance. Usher has been close to Diddy since he was a teenager, and Diddy even served as a mentor to the young singer when he was just starting out in the music industry. There are rumors that Usher may have attended some of Diddy's legendary parties, and while there's no evidence suggesting that Usher was involved in any wrongdoing, his connection to Diddy has led some to ask whether he might have seen or heard things that could shed light on the current allegations.
Well, either way, if you got to run to a private island because your evil doings are doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
And let's not forget about Diddy's ties to Hollywood. Over the years, he's built relationships with some of the biggest names in the business, including actors, directors, and producers. One name that's been thrown around in connection with Diddy is Leonardo DiCaprio. The two have been spotted partying together on multiple occasions, and while there's no indication that DiCaprio was involved in any of the alleged misconduct, his association with Diddy has raised eyebrows. After all, DiCaprio is known for being a part of Hollywood's elite circle, and fans are wondering whether he, too, may have witnessed something at one of Diddy's infamous gatherings. Could DiCaprio, or any of Diddy's other list friends, end up being called as witnesses if these cases go to trial?
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
It's also worth noting that Diddy's legal troubles are far from over. In addition to the current lawsuits, there are rumors that more people are preparing to come forward with their own stories. Some sources have even hinted that federal authorities are looking into Diddy's business dealings, suggesting that this could be just the tip of the iceberg. If these rumors are true, we could be looking at one of the biggest scandals to hit the music industry in years, with far-reaching consequences for everyone involved. But here's where things get really interesting. As the legal battles heat up, Diddy's reputation is taking a serious hit. And it's not just his career that's on the line, it's his entire legacy. For years, Diddy has been celebrated as a trailblazer in the world of hip-hop, a man who helped shape the sound and culture of an entire generation. But now, with these allegations hanging over his head, people are starting to question whether his success was built on something far darker. Could this be the end of Diddy's reign as one of the most influential figures in the entertainment industry? And if so, what does that mean for the countless artists, producers, and executives who've worked with him over the years?
I'm not going to talk about anything that I haven't said in court or in the papers. These are all great questions, but I'm just not going to get into it. So
can you speak about your concerns about the leak and the video? You have spoken about that.
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court papers. As you guys all know, let me just finish. As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than...
One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. As more details emerge, the list of people caught up in the scandal is only going to grow. And while Diddy has maintained his innocence, the sheer volume of accusations makes it clear that this is a battle that won't be going away anytime soon. For now, all eyes are on the legal system as prosecutors and lawyers prepare to dig deeper into Diddy's past and the pasts of those closest to him. So, what's next? Will more people come forward with their own stories? Will Diddy's inner circle finally break their silence? And how will the scandal impact the careers and reputations of those who've been caught up in the crossfire? Only time will tell, but one thing's certain. This is a defining moment for the music industry, and the fallout from these allegations is going to be felt for a long time to come.
You believe Diddy is a dangerous person?
Yes.
As we wait for more information to come to light, one question remains. How deep does this go? Are there others in the entertainment industry who've been hiding their own secrets? And if Diddy, one of the most powerful figures in music, can face such serious allegations, who's next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more updates on this explosive case. Because trust us, this is one story you won't want to miss.